fly in my teeth?
Just a bug.
Okay. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Well, today our channel. I'm very lucky to have Phil on the couch with me, and we're here to answer your questions. I put out a call on Instagram a few weeks ago, and I have got so many questions from you guys asking about our lives, about our work, about business in general, how we balance all of the fun things that we do in our life. And so Phil has decided to join us today and answer some of your questions, and I'm very pleased to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Thank you.
And we're coming to you from our office.
Yes, we are. We're sitting on the top floor of our new warehouse space. We've been here for a couple of months now, and it's pretty cool to be able to have a filming set up in the office, which will hopefully mean that we can make more videos for you guys.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Shall we get into the questions?
Let's do it.
Okay. So first question is from Here is Claire, and she asks, how do you balance YouTube with work? Well, do you want to answer this one, or do you want me to?
I can't believe how you do it myself. Yeah.
Well, you help me.
Yeah, I do help you a lot with the shooting, and but with the editing, you have the most incredible focus. You can sit there for like 4 hours and get it done.
Well, I guess YouTube for me has, it's almost acted as a form of therapy in a way. Like, I find the editing part of making YouTube videos a really fun thing to do because it completely switches me off, and yeah, I don't know, I find it really fun.
I remember when we started.
Oh.
Because you started with iMovie, and then you went to a more advanced program, Final Cut Pro.
Yeah, I stepped it up. Which
is quite a big program, but if you know, it's really kind of just a pro version of iMovie. And yes, that was a bit of an interesting experience.
I'm laughing because I do remember that day being on the couch, and I get really frustrated if things don't come to me easily. To be honest, I've always been quite good at things, you know, sport or at school, or, you know, like things, I like to think things would usually come quite naturally to me. So if I don't get something, you know, straight off, I get quite frustrated and quite angry. I remember sitting on the couch, and this particular editing program just wasn't working for me. I didn't know how to use it, and I just completely lost it one day, didn't I? I was like, this is rubbish, this editing thing's rubbish. I
wanted to do this, how does it do, why isn't it doing this? And I'm...
And Phil's just like very calm and zen, and that was making me angrier, because the angrier I got, the more calm you became, and I was like, just get angry with me, just get angry with me. No, you'll never get angry with me. You'll always be that calming force, which is why it works so well.
Every now and again I have to put the foot down, but it's like last resort. But a bit of a tip out there for people in relationships.
Escalate your anger.
Don't escalate the anger.
No, I say that because I can be like super calm, and I go to extreme anger straight away. Yeah. Whereas Phil will be like, it's almost like a stepping stone of anger, you know?
But see, the thing is, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, because the minute I lose it, then stop shouting at me. And I'm like, oh.
I don't know if we've actually answered Claire's question. This is going to be a long video.
No, okay. How do you fit it all in, YouTube and...
Just make it a priority. You know, I really struggled last year actually with YouTube, which is why I didn't make as many videos as I would have liked to, because work was so busy. But this year I've made it a priority. So within our office, I now have this filming space. So it just means that I'll be able to film more regularly.
Regularly. That's a tough one. Regularly.
Yeah, okay. So now we have this space in the office, so it just means that the lights are ready to go, the camera is set, and if I'm feeling in the mood to film a video, I can just come in here in my lunch hour and just get it done. Yeah.
And we've taken on some help as well for editing.
Yeah, actually just recently we have a gorgeous girl in the office called Poppy, who has been helping edit some of our vlogs, which has been fantastic. I love editing vlogs, but I don't have time to sit down for 8 hours and edit some of those vlogs, because it really does take that long sometimes. These sit down interviews, or these sit down videos, are much easier to edit. But yeah, it's great to have Poppy on board, because man, she has been awesome. That's why I have now regular videos every Wednesday, because of the help with Poppy. So you know, you can't do everything, and I want to be able to put more videos out there, so we've hired some help in order to allow us to do so.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is from Wondrous Heart, and she asks, how did you start your business, and more particularly, how did you deal with the fear of not succeeding? Well, I started my business very small, very, very small scale. So literally it was just me, a phone and a laptop in the corner of our very small apartment at the time. And I just started. I think that was the great thing about working in a service-based industry like PR or communications, is that I didn't need a massive machine behind me. I didn't need manufacturers, or I didn't need to make a product. So I didn't need a lot of investment. Really, I just needed myself, my contacts and my know-how, and I just got started.
A lot of know-how. You went into it with a lot of know-how to begin with.
Yeah, I'd been working in the industry since I was 15, really, because I'd done a lot of work experience and started a few little businesses on the side when I was little, helping people make websites, or, you know, creating communities. Even before social media came about, I was creating fan clubs, which for different bands or artists. And so it was about creating communities to support those bands and artists. Like if there was social media back in the day when I was 15, I would have been all over it, because I was kind of already doing that, but more in a real life scenario of organising meetups and, you know, having fan clubs. And so, yeah, I started very young. So I did have a lot of know-how. And then I worked for a really big company for like 10 years. So I kind of learnt so much from a really big machine and a really big company and how a big corporate operates, and kind of thought, okay, well, they're doing these things really well, they could probably improve on these things, and then I just sort of created my own brand from that.
The second part of that question is, how did you deal with
the fear of not succeeding?
There's probably two ways of answering that.
You'll know how I'll answer this question, because I love fear. I love that feeling of fear, if it's good fear. Fear for me is very motivating, and so if I'm feeling that good fear, and I think good fear always makes you feel excited. It gives you that butterflies in the stomach feeling, and for me that drives me. It makes me jump out of bed at 5 a.m. in the morning going, right, I need to take some stuff down today. We need to make this happen. If it's a heavy fear, and it's a fear that is making me feel a little bit unwell, or it's making me feel overwhelmed, then that's not a good fear. And usually I have to have a look at, okay, who have I got around me at the moment? What people, who am I associated with that's making me feel this fear? Because sometimes you can just be surrounded by the wrong people, you know, that are a little bit toxic or negative. So always go, okay, if it's a bad fear, who have I got around me? What project am I working on that's probably not in line with my values or my morals sometimes? And you just have to reevaluate it. But if it's a good fear, just use it, like use it to your advantage, to just go for it, and allow it to, you know, drive you to go even harder than what you normally would.
But that said, you never really had a fear of failure. It was that's what you know how to do, and you do that really, really well. It was just about moving forward and getting on the phone. I'll never forget, you were on the first thing you did was you sat down at that desk and you were on that phone for 2 weeks straight, I think.
Just hustling.
Yeah.
Just letting people know that I'd started a business, and if they wanted any PR help, then I was the girl. Yeah, I don't know, fear's good. So many people are scared of fear, and it can be overwhelming sometimes, but if it's the good fear, channel your energy into the good fear and just go for it.
The fear of failure can really stop you before you've even had a crack. So I think it's important because you can learn so much by just having a go.
Yeah, and I think for me, I don't know if it's an arrogance thing or a confidence thing, but I just have this feeling that I am going to make it. You know, I do have a particular self-belief. You know, sometimes, you know, if I'm not eating right, or, you know, I'm feeling anxious, I'm not exercising, then I'll get negative and slump a little bit, and that's when I call upon you, and you'll be like, right, okay, let's look at this situation, and you'll always help me out of that. I think that's a natural thing to feel, but really deep down, I know that I can do it.
Yeah, and I think you've got a real confidence in the ability to just keep moving, keep going for it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a very powerful trait of yours.
Thanks, Phil. All right, so the next question, Phil, is actually one for you.
Really?
Yeah. So this is from Amanda Panda 153, and
Amanda Panda.
And the question is, how did Phil, the rock and roller, come to be involved in your company? It's always interesting to see how one's skills and experience allows him or her to transfer from one industry to the other.
Well, I imagine there are other industries and other fields of profession that would be a harder thing to transition into from music and into. But PR for me has been a pretty smooth transition because it's interesting. I'm a guitarist, singer, performer.
You're a communicator.
Yeah, I've always sort of, if I had to kind of label what it was that I've been doing over the last 30 years, is entertaining and communicating and, you know, making people feel good and connecting with audiences, and more recently, really big corporate clients that I work with, consulting with their entertainment needs for their events. And that's really communicating not just what I do as a musician, but also their brand and what they want to do, and what they want to express and how they want to be perceived in their event. So that's exactly what we do here.
Absolutely. And you're such an asset to our team because you bring all this experience. So I'm trained in, you know, creative communications, or not creative communications, I'm trained in PR. I've got a Bachelor of Communications in Public Relations. So I'm actually trained, but you've been out there and you've got all this lifelong experience. You can't teach that, you can't train that, you know, so you've seen so much more than what I've seen. You've experienced life so much more than I have, because you are a little bit older than me. No, but you've been out there, you have been out there doing, you know, the hard yards and the slog, and with that comes connection and understanding how people think and how people feel and how people relate to situations, or, you know, you understand a public's perception. And that's really, you know, we're not just a PR agency either, we're a creative communications agency. So a lot of the work that we do now is you know, coming up with creative concepts. Phil is a true creative. That's what you were born to be, a creative. You know, whether that's on stage, singing a song,
which I still do.
Yeah, he's got like so many hats that he wears, or whether that's, you know, coming up with some sort of creative concept for a client, or it might be filming a video for a client or editing a video for a client. It's all in the creative realm, and Phil is our creative director, so, you know, he's responsible for coming up with crazy, outrageous ideas. You can't teach that at university, you know. It's funny, it's like being an entrepreneur, because I've started to see a lot of these new degrees coming through, like, come and do an entrepreneurial degree. It's like, you don't go to uni to learn how to be an entrepreneur. You go to uni to learn how to run a business, understand that, but you can't learn to be an entrepreneur, you know?
Yeah, look, there's even, you can even do a course on motivational science, and that really is learning how to be a motivational speaker.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And
there's a formula.
I think the best people that can be motivational speakers or inspirational speakers are people that are successful, people that have actually achieved some really big stuff. So
and they're coming from the heart. You know. I think people are pretty cluey these days.
Look, we're living in the information age, but information in and of itself that's just what it is. It's information. But knowledge is stuff that you take on and it works for you because you've applied it. And I've been applying, without even knowing, for the last 30 years in the field of communication and communications and entertainment. And that's look, it's really great in my role working at Flourish, just being the man on the spot. Phil, can you edit this video for this particular client, because we do social media for them, so they need a series of about 12 videos. Bang, I'm all over it.
Can you just come into this brainstorm? We've got a client in, I just need some crazy ideas. You know, this guy
outside the square.
This guy can come up with the most ridiculous ideas that I could never come up with, because my brain just doesn't work like that. You know, my brain is more about systems and strategies and, okay, we're here, but you want to get there. So I will help you map out a strategy, and this guy will weave in beautifully, you know, really creative ideas to help us get from here to there in a really creative way. Whereas I'm more systems and strategy sort of focus, but you weave in your magic and creativity along the way, and yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It really works. And for other people out there that are in industries, don't think that you're just stuck to that. I mean, the fact that you have worked for a few years in a certain industry, a certain field, you'll have a bit more expertise than someone who hasn't,
Yeah.
someone who doesn't have that experience.
But I think that's where the beautiful disruption happens as well.
yeah.
You know, to take all your skills that you've learned in one particular industry and adapt them and apply them to a completely different field. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's when all the magic happens.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.